when we achieve a good level of just baseline health, we are inherently aware of the energies and the pulls. Like, I can feel where the moon's at without even looking at it. I mean, I know what the moon's doing. I charge my water, and the moon is the primary influence. I can tell you by tasting the water where the moon's at. But the point is that when we're healthy, because we are nature and we're largely water, so the moon's pulling on us all the time. But it's one thing to teach those cycles to an unhealthy person because they have to have something external to themselves as a reference point to say, oh, look at the moon, it's almost full moon, versus paying attention to what a woman's body is telling her. And we shouldn't need alarm clocks to wake us up. We should be immediately awoken by the sun. We shouldn't need to be reminded to eat, and we shouldn't be in a situation where we forgot to eat. Those are all indications of derealization, being very out of touch with your body, because your body is nature. So in other words, we have to find the balance. Sometimes you got to start external and teach people what they should be feeling for and looking for, but then you got to help them come into themselves so that they can recognize where the moon's at inside of themselves, or all these other many things that we're talking about.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's part of the ritual stuff that we work with, because ritual can really help you attune to your native intuition, right? Exactly what you're talking about, attune to where the earth is at, and it can support you in understanding, and that embodiment piece also, right? Help you understanding how those pools, what they feel like. And so we try to pull that in so that, yes, there's an external piece that people are looking at, but we're always helping people be guided by their intuition too. And it's so funny you said that, Paul, because today, I mean, I don't know when this airs, but today I was like, it must be the new moon tomorrow. Like, it must be, because I can just feel it. And of course, sure enough, tomorrow's the new moon. And that pull is just very visceral once you can understand it and feel it.
One of the things that very few people think about is that ritual is very, very heavily linked to the rhythm, pressure, and flow aspects of the body. So think of rhythm, pressure, and flow. If the flow of your day is too intense, it causes high blood pressure. Your heart speeds up, you feel pressurized. It's like you're dealing with a crisis of some kind. Oh my God, I'm not going to make it here. The traffic's too heavy. Oh, my son's going to be late for band practice. And so breathing gets shallow and fast without going through all the whole systems. But, there's a natural transit time from mouth to anus for food. There's retention time. There's menstrual cycles. There's normal bowel movement cycles, urination cycles, breathing cycles, circulatory pressures, blood pressure. So what I find through my work, and have been teaching this for many, many years, is that if we don't have rituals to stabilize us, and rituals like eating breakfast and lunch and dinner, and some say, you don't need to eat 3 meals a day. Yeah, well, you know what? If you don't need to eat, then go sit there with people that are eating and drink some water, because the ritual creates a stabilizing factor. And so if our external rituals are chaotic, our internal rhythm, pressures, and flow mirror that chaotic energy. And that leads to all sorts of drug prescriptions and health problems and headaches and neck pain and back pain and digestive disorders, eliminative disorders, etc. So really what I'm saying in a nutshell is that it's very, very important to teach people healthy rituals, because if they don't have healthy rituals in their daily life, the rhythm, pressure, and flow systems of their body go into a state of chaos that mirrors the stress created by lacking ritual. But most mothers that I have worked with are like, I look at their daily schedule and what they've got to do, and just the thought of it kills me. I mean, I'm a busy, productive guy, but I've seen women who are booked like doctors with 50 patients a day, and they're trying to rush from appointment to appointment and pick up socks and do laundry and all this other stuff. And, a lot of them come to me with, quite serious health problems. And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of things I can do for you. But the first thing I have them do is I say, you bring in a monthly calendar and show me what you got going on. And we're going to create 4 doctors sacred time. You're going to block out the times a day that you eat. You're going to block out when you're going to exercise. You're going to block out what time you should be going to bed. If you don't make that part of your life sacred, then you will forever be feeding the medical system, and you will forever have problems, and it'll be very, very hard for you to embody yourself, because there's a threshold where when people reach enough level of stress, they externalize the soul. They don't want to be inside anymore. They want to escape themselves. And that's when you have to drink alcohol to get to bed, or smoke pot, or do some kind of drug to sleep or to stay awake, or both. All of this really has to begin with healthy rituals, or you're always treating symptoms. You're never getting to the actual problem. And many people say to me, well, I can't do that. I won't have time to go to, how can I do that? I won't be able to work as much to make enough money. There's a long line of excuses. And I say, well, how much money are you spending to see me? And you've just seen 25 doctors in the last 3 years. How much time did that take you? Right? So they don't have a common sense view of their own life, and their sense of value is distorted. I'm like, okay, well, sell one of your cars and lower your overhead so you can actually start living, or you're going to, 50% of a person's life savings is spent in the last 5 days of a hospital on average. The hospital will drain you of your finances. The number one cause of bankruptcy worldwide today is medical costs. It's like, my point is if you don't have time to set your life up so you can live, well, you will have time to die real slowly, and it'll be very expensive.
Yep.
So these are critical concepts.
I think it's really important that you framed ritual that way, Paul, because most people, when they think about ritual, they think about like lighting candles or wearing, people in hoods or like whatever. And you can, of course, incorporate anything you want into your personal rituals. But I think it's important for people to understand ritual as like their rhythms. A ritual is something that we do over and over again to give it meaning, to remember the meaningfulness of it. Habit is something we do over and over again because we're not thinking. Rituals make you think, habits are not thinking.
What I teach my students and patients, rituals are there to remind us of what is sacred. And there's nothing more sacred than taking care of yourself, because you can't do it if you don't take care of your environment. And that's sacred, because without the environment, there's no you. Without your health, there's less and less of you. So this is why I teach people, look, we got to look at your schedule, and we got to get your ritual dialed in, because we have to make sacred time for you. And that means you don't try to work while you're eating. You actually got to get clear on what the sacred is. And the sacred is ultimately what keeps you alive and gives life meaning and gives it heart. That's critical for everyone to understand, male or female. And if men don't support their women in creating sacred, healthy rituals, well, they're all doomed. The relationship will fall apart, because there will be such a values gap, it'll destroy the relationship, and the kids will be caught right in the middle of the crossfire, and their lives will be all screwed up.
Yep, it's very, very important. Ritual is important for everyone, and you have rituals whether you think you have them or not.
Well, they're either working for you or they're working against you.
Yep.
They're either human and natural, or they're technologically, electronically, gadget, media programming, and then they just turned you into a robot. You don't even need to go through the transhumanism movement. You've already done it.
Right. Yep.
And you're highly profitable to these corporate entities, which is a very dangerous way to live.